On this Tuesday night, Boeing's boss gets blasted.
And I want them to be held accountable for murdering 346 lives.
The company's CEO confronted by grieving families.
What do you have to say to the families who are here today, sir?
Hidden poverty, a grim reality check gives the full picture of how many Canadians are finding life unaffordable. A red carpet welcome for Russia's president, why he's in North Korea and fears of the deals he could strike. And bleeding blue and orange.
The once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing.
Die-hard Oilers fans traveling far and wide for a do-or-die game.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. The man who gets paid $33 million a year to run Boeing was accused today of strip mining the company for profit. And Dave Calhoun was confronted by angry, grieving families whose loved ones died in Boeing plane crashes. They brought photos of the dead to a hearing in Washington, D.C., demanding the head of Boeing look them in the eye and see their pain. Among them, Canadian families. Calhoun did address them directly. He apologized for the grief Boeing has caused. The company is under intense scrutiny, accused of cutting corners and putting profits over safety. And just before today's hearing, another whistleblower came forward. Jackson Proskow has our top story on a dramatic day of families demanding corporate responsibility.
Boeing CEO expected questions from lawmakers. At the U.S. Capitol, Dave Calhoun was confronted by families of the 346 people killed in crashes of his company's 737 MAX jets.
I was asleep at night thinking of the 6 minutes of my daughter's last breath on the plane.
The Moore family came here from Toronto to look Calhoun in the eye. Danielle Moore was one of 18 Canadians killed in the Ethiopian Airlines crash.
Have you ever heard anything from Boeing that's been satisfactory?
No, not. That's why we cannot even start healing. How could you heal when no one held accountable?
Victims like the Moores believe the problems at Boeing run right to the top.
What do you have to say to the families who are here today, sir?
Under oath, Calhoun turned and delivered a surprise apology, but offered no explanation for what went wrong.
And I apologize for the grief that we have caused. And I want you to know we are totally committed in their memory to work and focus on safety for as long as we're employed by Boeing.
You accept that Boeing was responsible for those
The hearing into safety and quality control issues at Boeing unfolded just hours after yet another whistleblower came forward, alleging Boeing mishandled defective parts and potentially installed them on airplanes.
Why haven't you resigned?
Senator, I'm sticking this through. I'm proud of having taken the job. I'm proud of our safety record, and I am
You're proud
very
of this safety
proud
record.
of our Boeing people.
You're proud of this safety record?
I am proud of every action we have taken.
Every action you've taken?
Yes, sir.
Boeing still faces potential prosecution for allegedly violating a settlement agreement that had shielded executives from liability for the MAX crashes.
It should not be in the air.
Victims' families believe a criminal trial is now the only way to get answers about how their loved ones died.
My sister was someone who cared, and what I'm seeing at Boeing is a culture of people who don't care.
During questioning, Calhoun acknowledged his company has retaliated against whistleblowers in the past. He also said that he has not personally spoken with any of the whistleblowers who've come forward to raise safety concerns. Donna?
All right, Jackson in Washington, thanks. Millions of people are sweltering under a heat dome that's settled in over much of the U.S. and Canada. This dangerous level of heat is happening more often and lasting longer because of climate change. It's not even summer yet, and heat records are expected to be shattered. The challenge, as Mike Armstrong explains, is how we adapt to this extreme heat.
There weren't many complaints from these kids as they were pulled out of their classroom Tuesday.
Anything to get out of class?
Things were a little tougher for the teachers watching.
It's pretty hot. I think I've never had experienced such heat before.
The temperature in Montreal hit 30 degrees Celsius, but add to that extreme humidity, it felt like 40 degrees for a second day in a row.
It's just the start of it, so it's not too bad there. It's probably going to get a little rough by tomorrow.
The danger from these temperatures is in fact cumulative. The longer a heat wave lasts, the tougher it is on the body.
Dress light, dress light. Less clothes, the better. And hydrate.
You see that fancy dancy wall?
In Ottawa, with the humidity, it hit 44 degrees. The city's medical health officer says people should avoid strenuous activities.
I am going home, gonna get in AC, and I think I'm overheating right now, so.
This is going to be one for the ages.
The governor of New York State is warning about air quality and the heat. But the timing, she says, is a concern. These extreme temperatures are hitting places earlier in the year than usual. Bodies do acclimate as the summer goes on. These temperatures in mid-June are harder to take. New record highs are being set all over the U.S. Northeast.
When these things happen, when we have these heat waves, unfortunately, people in communities like this die all the time. It's a silent killer of so many.
Now, a heat wave that hit Montreal in 2018 killed 66 people. The city is officially on alert right now. It's also asking Montrealers to be aware that people experiencing homelessness are going to need help.
Libraries, businesses, the metro, to have a degree of tolerance knowing that there is this heat risk there for the next few days.
Montreal's full emergency protocols kick in when there are 3 consecutive days above 33 degrees. That would trigger things like teams going door to door to check on people, a shift from prevention to intervention. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
In California, firefighters are trying to intervene in a wildfire northwest of Sacramento. It grew by more than 20 hectares overnight. The site's fire is only 15% contained. High winds and low humidity mean the fire is spreading quickly. North of San Francisco, favorable weather conditions have allowed firefighters to increase containment of the Point Fire. And another fire that's burning in the mountains north of LA and prompted evacuations on Sunday is just 24% contained. In the Northwest Territories, a wildfire that forced most residents to flee Fort Good Hope is still growing, but so far homes and businesses have been spared. Fire officials say it's now significantly larger than the 1,300 hectares reported yesterday, but cooler temperatures and favorable winds are helping crews trying to get the upper hand. Residents say they are stressed but leaning on each other for support.
It's really about community, right? And I can see that here in the South too, that everybody comes together to support and help each other, which is really good.
Crews are tackling the fire from the ground and air tankers are dropping water from the sky. The fire is one of 36 now burning in the territory. We're learning more about a daytime shooting in Toronto that left 3 people dead. Police confirm a woman and 2 men were killed yesterday afternoon in the lobby of a North York office building. Investigators say the gunman is believed to be among the dead. Global News has learned 2 of the people killed are Arash Misagi and his business partner. The third person has yet to be identified. Investigators say it appears the motive was an argument over business. In 2018, Misagi was charged in an alleged $17 million mortgage fraud investigation. Court records show he also faced civil lawsuits over alleged mortgage fraud. There remains a lack of clarity and answers on the question of foreign interference in Canadian politics. For days, the Prime Minister has dodged questions about whether any Liberal MPs allegedly colluded with hostile foreign states. Today, others, including the Deputy Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, were asked about it. Mackenzie Gray on the latest on how each party is responding. Mac.
Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland seems to be walking back a previously made commitment, Donna, to look into foreign meddling.
We take foreign interference very seriously.
But how seriously the Liberals are interested in knowing more is now in question. Freeland had previously said the Liberal Party would conduct an internal follow-up into startling allegations from an all-party report into foreign interference. But when pressed by Global News on what a follow-up would look like, she pointed to a different review.
These are very delicate security matters, and that is why we set up the Hogue Commission. It's the right thing to ask Justice Hogue to expand her mandate to continue the review.
No mention of an internal process, instead referencing the public inquiry into foreign interference, which is now looking into which MPs might have been wittingly receiving help from other countries. In a statement, the Liberal Party would also not say if the process is going forward. We continually review our internal processes to protect the party from foreign interference. Attempting to understand his own caucus situation, the leader of the bloc has applied for security clearance to read the report, but won't talk about it after.
So don't wait for me for coming here and saying some spectacular things from the report. It won't happen.
That leaves Pierre Poilievre as the only leader unwilling to read the report, forgoing access to a document that alleges both China and India interfered in Conservative Party leadership races, not taking a single question for the past 2 weeks. Conservative MPs have argued if Poilievre reads the unredacted version, he won't be able to act on what he learns. But Donna, his office has said he's willing to take a briefing from CSIS on issues specific to the Conservatives.
Okay, Mackenzie, thanks. Food Banks Canada has looked at poverty in Canada through a new lens, measuring it differently than in the past and coming up with a stark new conclusion about how many people are unable to meet their basic needs. As Heidi Petracek explains, it's higher than previously thought.
Food insecurity isn't hidden at nonprofits trying to keep up with demand. This affordable produce market has more than doubled its patrons in 5 months of operation.
I see real life every day of people struggling and being hungry and being so grateful that a service like ours exists.
The disconnect between what those like Mandy Chapman see firsthand and Canada's official poverty rate of roughly 7% prompted a deeper dive into the problem.
What we're seeing on the ground is sort of, we feel should be reflected in what is being used to monitor progress in poverty reduction.
So experts went beyond just income and essentials and used what's called a material deprivation index. They factored in whether people can afford the things others take for granted, like owning a pair of well-fitted shoes, buying a small gift for family or friends once a year, or participating in special occasions. In the end, the report revealed Canada's hidden poverty rate of 25%.
You're looking at close to 10 million people. And, that's 6 million more than the official poverty rate.
The study also found 30% of young people, more than 44% of single-parent households, and 42% of renters can't afford at least 2 of the items on the deprivation list. And almost 24% are employed.
I think this really uncovers more of the problem, because oftentimes somebody may be paying their rent, but they're paying their rent at the cost of the other things that they can't do.
This community garden grows fresh food for those who can't afford store prices. Its executive director hopes the report will push policymakers towards long-term change.
If I had the magic wand, I really think a guaranteed basic income is what we need.
The report's authors believe this new measure of poverty can be used to design better government programs to meet the needs of Canadians overlooked until now. Heidi Petracek, Global News, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Stellantis is recalling more than 1 million vehicles in Canada and the U.S. because of a software glitch that disables rear view cameras. The recall covers some Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler models made from 2021 to 2023. Stellantis will fix the problem with an online software update, which some vehicles have already received. The automaker says it's unaware of any injuries or accidents related to the software. Russia's president has gone to North Korea. Coming up, the fears the two are teaming up to take on the West. There's one place Russia's president can go to get a warm welcome: North Korea. Vladimir Putin landed there today for a carefully choreographed visit. North Korea only allows the outside world to see what it wants people to see, and the regime keeps the North Korean people in the dark through a system of isolation and brutal repression. So what can Vladimir Putin gain by going there? As Redmond Shannon reports, Western nations are watching closely.
Waiting for an old friend. Kim Jong-un rolling out the communist red carpet for Vladimir Putin's first visit to the isolated nation of North Korea in 24 years. Putin himself ever more shunned, coming to strike a deal, or make that deals, joined by cabinet ministers and the head of Russia's space program. In advance of his visit, Putin wrote in North Korean state media about Pyongyang's support for Russia's war in Ukraine. Both sides deny Western accusations that the support involves arms sales to Moscow, something that would violate UN sanctions on North Korea.
North Korea is providing significant munitions to Russia.
UN monitors have reportedly found fragments of North Korean missiles in Ukraine.
What we see is there are a lot of areas of symbiosis in the North Korean-Russian relationship.
This analyst says Russia simply can't build the weapons it wants fast enough.
The Russian economy is starved for manpower. And North Korea has historically really found it beneficial to effectively rent out their people as extremely low-cost laborers.
The West, which is arming Ukraine, is also concerned about what this meeting could mean for North Korea.
The potential support that Russia provides to North Korea when it comes to supporting their missile and nuclear programs.
Since 2022, the nuclear-armed North has been regularly testing ballistic missiles, increasing tensions with the South. And on Tuesday, South Korean troops fired warning shots after they said northern soldiers crossed into the demilitarized zone at the border. The lines of global division are as clear as they have been since the Cold War, illustrated by summits such as these. Putin flies on to communist-ruled Vietnam on Wednesday. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.
Arrested ahead what Justin Timberlake was charged with in the Hamptons. Thailand has cleared the last major hurdle to become the first country in Southeast Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. The country's Senate voted overwhelmingly in favor of the bill. It grants full legal, financial, and medical rights for all marriage partners. The legislation must now be endorsed by the king and will come into effect 120 days after it's published in the Royal Gazette, which is used by the government to communicate information to the public. The first same-sex wedding could take place in Thailand later this year. Nvidia, the tech giant at the center of the artificial intelligence boom, is now the world's most valuable public company. The chipmaker dethroned Microsoft for the top spot today when its share price rose above $135. That makes it worth $3.3 trillion. It overtook Apple earlier this month. Nvidia's shares are up more than 170% this year. Its highly sought-after chips are said to be superior to its competitors, and demand is at an all-time high. Singer and actor Justin Timberlake has been arrested and charged with driving while intoxicated. This is his mugshot, released by police late this afternoon. He was arrested in the Hamptons on New York's Long Island. Police say he ran a stop sign while driving a 2025 BMW, drifted out of his traffic lane, and was pulled over by an officer who determined he was in an intoxicated condition. Timberlake was charged and held overnight. Neither he nor his representatives have commented. Ride or die next. How far Edmonton's most loyal fans will go to support the Oilers. Nerves are sky high for hockey fans tonight. The odds of the Edmonton Oilers repeating that stunning 8-1 win over the Florida Panthers on Saturday are slim. But any kind of win will do. The Oilers are back in Florida facing a stark reality. Win and the series goes back to Edmonton on Friday. Lose and the Stanley Cup stays south of the border for another year. Tonight we've got Jeff Semple in Edmonton and Slav Kornick in Sunrise, Florida, where it will all play out. Slav.
That's right, Donna. It's do or die for the Oilers tonight, but it's a situation they're not unfamiliar with because it's the fourth time in this playoff run the Oilers have faced elimination. No doubt about it, it's a very difficult position to be in, but the Oilers say in some ways it takes some pressure off of being in the Stanley Cup final because nobody, or very few people anyway, outside their locker room are expecting the Oilers to come back in this series because as history tells us, the chances are very low. Only 4 teams have rallied from a 3-0 deficit to come back and win a series. The Oilers know a second straight victory tonight will be very difficult. The Panthers are going to be hungry to finish this series and capture the Stanley Cup here in Sunrise, Florida on home ice. But if the Oilers are able to get a win and send this series back to Edmonton, that's when the Stanley Cup final will become very interesting.
And I'm here in Edmonton, about 4,500 kilometers from Florida, and this series is actually setting a new record for travel. It's the longest distance between 2 Stanley Cup contenders. But that's nothing compared to the air miles being racked up by some of these die-hard fans. The Oilers fan pre-game ritual.
That's it for blue.
War paint for a must-win battle. This former Edmontonian now lives in Australia.
Let's go!
He took 3 flights over 2 days for this.
To me, it's like a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing that I can do.
It's been a lifetime, 31 years, since a Canadian team hoisted the cup. More than 60,000 visitors have traveled here to Edmonton, hoping to end that streak.
Let's go, Oilers!
This Oilers fan came from Tasmania.
14,137 kilometers one way.
She's booked her return flight for after a hopeful Game 7.
I came here from the other side of the world, so there's no other option but to just keep believing.
Let's see it. This Oilers superfan is actually British.
Oh, yeah.
He watched an Oilers game on TV as a kid and never looked back.
I always say I didn't choose the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers chose me.
But if hockey fans around the world are cheering for Edmonton, what about fans in Canada?
It's all over, folks.
This TV commercial recently suggested that hockey fans should rally around our remaining Canadian teams. It was widely condemned online. But those die-hard loyalties might be softening. An opinion poll found that more than half of Canadians, 57%, are now cheering for the Edmonton Oilers, with unconfirmed reports, Donna, that even some lifelong Toronto Maple Leafs fans are hopping aboard the bandwagon.
Say it ain't so. Jeff Semple in Edmonton. Thanks for that reveal. That is Global National for this Tuesday. I'm Donna Friesen. As Jeff mentioned, this is the farthest distance between 2 Stanley Cup finalists ever, and the weather is also a sign of that. Tonight's Your Canada is southern Alberta. This is where people woke up to nearly 30 centimeters of snow. Maybe a sign of support for Canada's team? Who knows? Thanks for watching. Hope to see you here again tomorrow. Bye-bye.